Org app is the new way of sharing Microsoft Fabric content, which introduced recently. I have created a video about it. It is a method you can use to share Microsoft Fabric content. And we also have another way previously we used to share Power BI content, which it's called Power BI app. Some people call it Workspace app. So Power BI app or Workspace app has different capabilities. Org app has different capabilities. In this video, I'm going to talk about their differences, what are pros and cons of each, how you should use them in an implementation of Microsoft Fabric or Power BI. I'm Reza Rad. We are going to talk about the difference between Org app and Power BI app in this video. Let's jump into it. When you want to share Microsoft Fabric content, one of the recent ways that is suggested and is already in preview is Org app. It is called Org app. This method is already in preview mode. It has some really good benefits, and I have created a video about it. But we also had Power BI app, which I highly recommended it as a best way of sharing Power BI content in the past. That method still exists, but Org app comes with some new benefits which can make it even a better approach. I'm going to talk about their differences, but to talk about their differences, you have to see how they perform as well. So I'm going to create Org app and Power BI Workspace app so that you can see their differences. Power BI app is also called as Workspace app, but instead of me trying to say Power BI app or Workspace app every time I want to refer to it, I'm just calling it Power BI app. So we are talking about Org app, Fabric way, versus Power BI app, the way that we used to work in Power BI. We can still use it. Let's see how they work. I'm going to my Fabric environment. First thing you need to know is there was a difference in licensing when Org app was launched first. Org app, you could only use it in a Fabric capacity workspace, in workspace settings, in the license info. Here is a place that you can assign a specific license. This could be Fabric capacity based license, or it could be Power BI Pro, PPU, things like that. This used to be the difference at the beginning when Org app introduced, but now it's not anymore. You can even create Org app inside a workspace with Power BI Pro license. So licensing is not a big difference here. If you want to create Org app, the way we create it is we'll go into new item here and we'll search for Org app. And here we'll go into creating, I'll just call it Org app test 3. There will be a place that you can add content into your Org app. I'm not going to build the whole Org app in this video because I have done it in another video. So this is just going to talk about the differences. So here I'll go and choose the items that I want to be in my Org app. And I'll select the items. One of the differences is what you see right now in this screen. Here I can also choose notebooks to be shared in the Org app. In Power BI app, we can only share Power BI content, which is Power BI report, Power BI dashboard, or Power BI paginated report. Notebook is not one of those. So notebook is one of the items in Fabric elements that you can use. Real-time dashboard is also one of the others. If we have any future visualization items in Microsoft Fabric, they'll be included in the Org app. So one difference is the type of objects you can create or you can share through the app. Once you create the app, you can go and build sections in it. You can add links to it. You can also create an overview page. This overview page can be something like a welcome to this app type of thing. With some explanation, you can then customize your overview page. This is like the overview page. You can add a header to it. I have created an Org app before, so I'm going to refer to that, but I'll show you that this is the possibility. You can have theme color applied on this. I would also call it welcome to this app, things like that. So it looks like this. Once you've built this, once you've added sections, if you want to, I also add one section so that you can see what it looks like. Section 1, and I'll move this section up. I can move some of these into that section, for example, moving this one to that section, or moving this one to the section. And as you can see, sorry, not to the new section, moving this to the same section. As you can see, I can move this up or down as well and do some navigations. I can also do some customization on what is the logo of the app, what is the theme color, which would be whatever theme color I choose would be used over there, the type of navigation that I want to have. I'm going through these faster because I have already created a video about it. Once I create all of these, then I'll go to the setting. I'll make sure that everything is correct here. If I want to assign any tags to it, or if I want to use the endorsement and say this is a certified app or promoted, which again, I talked about that in another video. So once you create this, then you can preview the app if you want to. This app looks like this with all of the content that I put in there. Closing the preview, then I can just save the app. And that is how I create an org app. This is compared to the way that we create Power BI app. Now I'll go and create a Power BI app so that you can see what is the difference. Power BI app, you don't create it as a new item. You go to this create app icon on the top of your workspace, and you'll start building the app over there. So here you'll put a name for this. I can call it Fab Test Radacat Power BI app. Some descriptions about it. Similar to that, the org app, you can have logo and theme color and all of that. Then I'll go to the place that I can add content. I'll add the content from my workspace. As you can see, notebooks doesn't appear here because this is Power BI app. You can, however, add as many as Power BI reports or paginated reports as you want. So here you can see I have like a paginated report, few Power BI reports. Once I add it, I can go and add sections to it or add a link, so they both have this capability. One of the things that we don't have here is the welcome page. I call it welcome page, but in fact it is an overview page. I'm going to close my Teams so that you don't see these many messages, and quit any other applications as well. So as you can see, the overview page doesn't exist here, so that org app has a little bit more into the navigation of it, which makes it nicer to work with. But we have the sections and links, and we can move things under the section. Like for example, I can move this to the section, move them up or down, similar to the way that we do it in the org app. Finally, we'll get to a place that will define audience in here. Now I'll talk about audience a little bit later when we talk about sharing Power BI app or sharing strategy itself. I'll just for now hit the publish app so that this is published. So one difference is the way that we create these two apps. The other difference is the content you can share through the app. As you saw in the org app, we can have fabric elements such as notebooks, whereas in Power BI app, you can only have Power BI elements. The other parts of it is that when we publish the app, org app appears immediately in the app section in here. So if I go to the app section, and if I go, I can see this org app that I just saved or published, but the app that I created as a Power BI app doesn't exist here because I have to first go and install the app, which is the process of getting the app. I can go and I can see if there's an app that I have access to it. This is that app that I have created, and I can go and install it. Once it is installed, from that point onward, I'll be able to see that app all the time in my Power BI environment. So here, if I go, I always see this app. Now, but there is a one-off installation process needed. Now this process in Power BI app can be automatically done, and that is under setting, admin portal. There is a configuration here that apps get installed automatically. If I search for app, I should be able to find it, or maybe better to search in here. So there is one option that automatically installs the app. So here it is. So as you can see under tenant settings, here is the option that it would, now this is for Microsoft Teams, but there is also one that would install Power BI app automatically. So here it is. Sorry, I was looking for finding it. So here it is. Push the app to end users or publish the app to the entire organization. So you'll have the option to say, I want to publish this app. By default, Power BI app wouldn't be like that. But org apps, they are always automatically published, ready for the users to use. So this is another difference. One other difference is the way that sharing and security works. And Microsoft team did a really great job in creating that security and sharing process in the org app. They used all their experience from the Power BI app and applied it in the org app. If in the Power BI app, let's say in this app that I created, in this workspace, if I have some reports, I'm just looking at this. Let's say if one of these reports is looking at a semantic model in another workspace, if you share this app with someone, they will not get automatically access to the semantic model in the other workspace. Power BI app doesn't do that. But org app takes care of that. If you have a paginated report, Power BI report looking at a semantic model that is even outside of this workspace, creating org app and sharing it with user X will give access to that user X to that semantic model. So it's a much easier way to manage the security. If you remove someone's access, it would also remove their access from that original item as well. Whereas in Power BI app, you have to manage these two separately. One other difference, which is a big difference in here, is that with Power BI app, you cannot create more than one app per workspace. And you can actually see it inside our workspace. We have a section that we could create app. Now that we have created the app, we just have the update app. And whenever I go to this update app, I'll see the app that I have created. This is the app, this is the content of it, this is all the configurations of it. I can just update it, but it would be one app. Now, the way that we can go around it, for example, if we want to share different content to different users from the same workspace, is to add all the content in one app, and then in the audience part, this is where we go and separate these. We have different audiences. We can have one audience, two audience, three audience, as many as audiences that you want. For example, here I can call this, just to give you an idea, sales. I can call this, if I can rename this, here it is, inventory, or let's say warehouse team. And then in the sales, I can say, well, these are hidden in the sales, but in the warehouse, these are hidden, right? And you can have another audience that have access to all of these. You can see when I change the audience, these changes, and in each audience, then you can share it with the group of people you want in that audience. I'll just put my own email address here, but this could be anyone. This could be even security group, which is what we normally suggest for people to go and use the security group. So once you create these different audience, they will have the same app, but they will have different view of the app. And you can have one user being part of multiple audience as well. This is the way that we managed things inside Power BI app. In org app, however, that is the big difference I talked about. In org app, you can have as many as org apps you want in one workspace, which makes it much more flexible. If I actually go and filter this for the type of org app, you can actually see that I've already created 3 different org apps in this workspace. I can create even more org app. Each of these org apps can have different theme. So this is one of the difference. With the audience, you are always following the same theme. Whereas here I can have one app with another theme, one app with a different theme. I can have different welcome page, or let's say that overview page for it. I can have different configurations for it. So it's much easier to manage, however, still is something that you can get around it with different audience. But remember that this is one of the differences in these two platforms, having in these two ways of sharing. The org app, you can create as many as you want per workspace. Power BI app, one app per workspace, multiple audience. You cannot at the moment create an org app or Power BI app across multiple workspace. That is not possible at the moment. It may be in the future, I don't know, but at the moment this is the limitation for both of these. Now, one really important difference, I would say this is the most important difference between org app and Power BI app. And this difference is defining the way you design the architecture of your solution in Microsoft Fabric or Power BI. With the org app, let's start with the Power BI app. With the Power BI app, one of the main benefits of Power BI app when it first introduced a few years back was that this creates a copy of your workspace content. I'll go to one of the reports, for example, just to show you. Let me go to the app to see which reports I have in the app. So in this app, for example, I think, let's see which report I have. Like this report, right? For example, this is a report that is inside the app. When I create the app, what happens behind the scene is that app creates a copy of the report, dashboard, paginated report. All of these will be created as a copies connecting to the same semantic model. So semantic model is not copied, just the report or paginated report or the dashboard is copied. If you want to understand what is semantic model, what is report, go and check out my other videos about it. So your report, your visualization layer is copied. And the reason to create that copy is separating that from your workspace environment. Your workspace is like your developer environment. If you go and change something in your developer environment, you don't want your end users to get impacted immediately. So here it is. This report is created as a copy. This means that if I go and open it as a user, let's go and open this app from a user point of view. So I'm opening this in another tab so that you can see it. So this is the app view. So I'm looking at from the user point of view, not from the workspace point of view, right? And you see this is the app and this is the report. Now I'll go to the workspace and find that report, which in this case we are talking about this workspace, and the report was something like this, I think. Here it is. And I'll go and modify this report. Let's say I'm a developer in this place and I'm going to change this. So this visual that I have here, I want to modify it. So let's go to edit mode, switch to edit mode. I'll change this to a pie chart and save it. Right, so I changed this report. I'll go to the view mode so that you can see this. It is actually in the view mode. You can actually see it right now. I'll go outside of it and come back again so that you can see that the change has been applied. Here is the report and it is with that pie chart. But when I go back to the app, this is the Power BI app we are talking about. In the app, this is still like this. If I refresh it like this, it's still that. If I refresh the whole page, it is going to be still whatever is used to be. If I go to other pages and then come back to this page again, you see this is still whatever is used to be. Why it's like that? Because when we create the Power BI app, it creates a copy of that item of that visual item connected to the same semantic model. This separation is critical to create a dev environment, your workspace, and your user environment, your Power BI app, so that if developers go and change something, your end users don't get impacted immediately. There is someone like a gatekeeper, like a deployment manager, that will check if the change has been done correctly, if the test process has been done, all of those being done correctly. Then that person will go to the workspace, they will click on Update App, and by updating the app, I'll just update app so that you can see what it looks like. I'm not going to change anything in it. I'll just say update app. Right? I'll just give access to this for everyone so that we can see this changing. And once the app is updated, the next refresh of the app would have the new change in it. So this time we should see this as a pie chart. This is Power BI app. What about org app? In org app, there's a big difference. Org app doesn't do any of these. The org app does not create a copy of the item. If I go to one of these org apps, let's say this one, for example, I'll go and open one report that has some data in it. Let's say this report, for example. I hope it has some visualization. Well, very simple visualization, but here it is. It is called report import sample Miami. So this report is the actual report in the workspace. There is no copy of this created. This is the actual report item. When I go and change this report in the workspace, and I'll go and do that in a second. So let's go here and say I want to go and change that report. Now it was something Miami. If I can find it. Well, too many Miami's reports here. I think it was this one. So I'll go to that report and I'll make a change. Let's say I'll go to edit mode and I'll create a new visual in here. Let's say sales amount by education. So it's a new chart. I'll save this, closing this. I'll open that again in the workspace first. I don't even need to do that, because if we go back to the app, you should see that change immediately in the app. Without even publishing the app again, without updating the app, you see this is changed immediately in the app, which kind of defeats the purpose of what about our dev environment and user environment, because as soon as I change something, the users would see it. Well, this brings us to how you should architect a solution if you are using org app. If you are using org app, you should have workspaces separating your dev and user environment. You need to have one workspace for dev, one workspace for user. The workspace for user is the one that has this org app on the top. And you can also have like workspace for dev, UAT, production. You can have as many as these you want. Then use deployment pipelines to publish content across these, which I have explained about deployment pipelines in another video as well. I have explained about workspace structure in another video as well. So just using one workspace with the org app on the top is not going to be good architecture design, because as soon as you make a change, the org app users get impacted immediately. This is a big difference that I talked about, because it defines how you go and use your architecture in Power BI or in Microsoft Fabric. That said, in Power BI apps, if you go and change something in your semantic model, such as like removing a measure or doing anything like that, even that report that is a copy of the report in the workspace would break down. It would not work correctly because the semantic model is still the same. So if a structural change in the data has been made, that method wouldn't work. So you need to update the app. So that brings us to the same concept here, that org app can be more consistent because it is the same content. Another thing about the security difference between these two is that when you share the Power BI app with someone, the actual report that you have shared is not shared separately. The users of this report, whatever report it is, let's say I have created this an app on top of this report. If a user wants to access the report outside of the app, they cannot. That is the way that Power BI Apps works. They can only access it through the app. With the org app, they can access the item outside of the app as well, because this is the original item shared through the app. When you share it through the app, the user also get access to that item. Removing the access from the app would also remove the access of the user from this. So here are some of the differences. I'm just checking if I mentioned all the differences. Yep, I think I mentioned all the differences here. One other thing to note is that at the moment, at the time of creating this video, these two can work alongside each other. You can have Power BI app and you can have org app. I imagine, and this is just what I'm thinking in the future, org app would be the way to go to share Microsoft Fabric content, because it has all other aspects in it, and it's new child which inherited all of the good things from Power BI app, and it will have some interesting other things added to it as well. I hope this video helps you to understand which one is better to use, and if you are going to use Power BI app versus org app, or the other way around, what is the best architecture that works with it. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have weekly videos about Microsoft Fabric and Power BI. I'm Reza Rad. Until the next video, bye.